For this lesson, we're going to do build a house collage with paper ripping skills. Okay, if you notice, here's my wonderful little collage. I made it so the little door is open and it's got windows and some roofs on there. And I've got some ripped paper grass down here at the bottom and a ripped paper tree up there at the top. So this is a collage project, and it is going to encompass about 3 or 4 different specific art skills. Number one, if you look at my painting for my collage for a moment, you'll notice that I've used only what kind of colors? Cool colors, that's right. So I've got all the cool colors in my picture. I've got purple, green, and blue. Right? Those are my 3 cool colors. If you look over at the color wheel, you'll see that the color wheel is divided into 2 sides. We've got the cool colors and the warm colors. Actually, let me put them like this, kind of reading left to right: red, orange, yellow, and green, blue, purple. Okay, those are our 2 color choices for today. You may either choose the warm colors, red, orange, yellow, or you may choose the cool colors, green, blue, purple. You will get 3 sheets of paper, 1, 2, 3, one of each color from your color scheme, either cool or warm. They are little ones like this, okay, half sheet, so it's like 4 1/4 by 6 inches, I believe. And you'll need 3 of these to do your assignment, okay? You will also need 1 large piece of white drawing paper. Okay, first things first, what you're going to do is you're going to take your piece of paper, you are going to write your name on the back. Of course, I would write Mr. Lundgren because that's my name. You write whatever your name is, and then write your teacher's name. Teacher name. Let's say this is Mrs. Gross's class. Okay, and please write your teacher's name there so we know what class you belong to later when I come back. Okay, flip your paper over and we're going to start our assignment. Now, first things first, we need to review some skills. I'm going to use my warm colors, okay, red, orange, and yellow, for my demonstration purposes. But before we get into my colors and everything else, we need to review some paper skills. Okay, in the past, we've always talked about scissor skills and cutting away from you. To do any of the cutting, and as you're cutting away from you, turning your paper to kind of cut any shapes. Today we're barely going to use our scissors. Maybe once or twice we'll use our scissors right at the end, but pretty much we're only going to be using our hands today. What you're going to do is learning some paper folding techniques. Okay, in the past we've always talked about having a bone folder to do paper folding, like when we do origami. Well, in this demonstration you're going to just need your hands. You might in the future want to use a bone folder if you want, but I'm going to show you some other skills. Number one, you take your paper and you fold it in half. Now, do you always have to fold it in half? Not always, but for this assignment we're going to kind of make divisions of the same shapes. What you're going to do is you're going to take the fingernails, okay, here of your index finger and your thumb, and you're going to pinch this crease as hard as you possibly can with your fingernails and pull right along the crease and crease it as hard as you can. Then you flip the paper over and open it up and fold it back on itself right on the same crease and crease it again with your fingernails. Okay, then you have your crease right here. You've folded it really hard with your fingernails, not the pads of your fingers, but the fingernails. Then you hold one side down. I'm right-handed, so I always tear with my right hand. If you're left-handed, you would do it this way. Okay? And what you do is instead of ripping it like this, you hold one side down, you lift up this other corner, and you kind of pull it down. See how the paper is bending here? You pull it down and away from itself, and it should tear right along that line. Okay, now take this piece, set it aside, and I'm going to do some other things. You can also, as you know from origami, make a perfect square. These are both rectangles, right? Because we started with a rectangular piece of paper and we halved it. To make a square, you take the top edge here and fold it down to meet the side edge. This does 2 things for us. Number one, we can have a perfect square. And I'm going to take this now and I'm actually going to use my scissors and just cut this bottom piece off, just like we do with origami. Okay, so I've got that little rectangle now. I'm going to set it over to the side for a minute. Okay, and number one, this will give us a perfect square if we want it. Okay, so maybe you want a perfect square and then you want to divide that in half one way and the other way to have little squares for your windows later on. But this also gives us a triangle. Now triangles are kind of hard to rip because the line is right on the point. So what I would do here is I would use my scissors and just give it a start. Like that. Okay, so you can see how it started now. And then I would just rip it like I did the other ones. There's something different to ripped paper. It has a different feel, a different texture than cut paper. There you go. Got two triangles, and now if we start doing the dividing in half deal again, we divide these in half, we can get a bunch of other smaller triangles. Okay? So the smaller, I mean, you can have triangles, you can have rectangles, you can have squares. Later on, if you want to do like a curved piece on the top by taking a triangle and curving it or something, you can do that. But if you look real quickly now, I've got like 3 triangles. I've got a little rectangle. I'm going to take this one, fold it the hot dog way. Alright, fold it back on itself, crease it hard, hold one side down, rip it. And you see now I could already have kind of a cool house by just rearranging, you know, these couple shapes here. I could have like a little ranch style house with a Victorian tower on top and you know, a balcony off the side. Okay, that's just with one color and one simple sheet of paper. So now we go back to our collage that I've already shown you, and you can see that I've got like one rectangle here, one long rectangle here, a little rectangle there, and then I've broken up the papers into littler pieces for the windows. So take 2 pieces, select 2 pieces. Here's my paper with my name on it, right? Select 2 pieces of your colored paper to start with and rip them down into a bunch of smaller rectangles and shapes. Okay, I already did my green one, so I'm going to actually kind of set those aside. And since I had, that was just my demonstration, right? I had chosen the warm colors originally. Okay, so my warm colors being red, orange, and yellow. Take 2 colors. Let's say I'm going to take red and orange. And break these down into different rectangles. I'm going to move quickly now so that we can get through the demonstration and you'll still have time to work. Okay, folding it back over itself, ripping it. I want to have a couple long ones here that I can work with. Okay, one. I'm going to take this and fold it in half. And as you get more skilled with this, you don't have to fold it so many times. Sometimes you can get away with doing just one fold, but you really do want to be careful. Try not to rip the paper. There is extra paper, but I'd really like you to try to be conserving your paper and only make this project out of the 3 papers that you are given. Okay, otherwise it gets kind of complicated and then I got to cut up more paper and it's just kind of a mess. So try to do the best you can with just the papers you've got. Okay, so as you see, I've got 1, 2, 3. Maybe I put one over here. I'm going to take this one, bend it down. And as you're working, think about how you want your house organized. Because you just might want your shapes to interact with each other and kind of put them, you know, one red here, one blue there. So maybe I've got like a red one back here and an orange part kind of overlapping it. Maybe I want to change this, you know, so that I've got this red one here and then an orange one up on top. And you can always overlap these to kind of change the size. And maybe I want it like that. Then maybe I want to have like a balcony off the side here with this one. So I'm going to change this one, fold it hot dog way. So make some decisions about whether you're folding it the hot dog way or the hamburger way, and how those decisions might change what your overall house collage is going to look like. So maybe I've got this one here, and then I've got, how about like this? Okay, so I've got like a little two-story garage in my main house over here, and maybe I've got it like that. It's like a little tower. There we go, a tower and a roof section over here. All right, so there you go. We've got our basic house done. Okay, there we go. That's what I want. Just like that. Okay, now as far as your basic house goes, you're going to need to glue this down. Notice we've only used 2 colors, and I've got my wonderful glue bottle here. Notice with the glue bottle, it is not the regular orange top. You've got a red top, there's a little button here. You have to press down, take your fingernail, pick the little chunks of glue off the top, and then it's a silent tool. You press down and squeeze. Okay? Squeezing harder gets more glue out than slamming it down on the table. When you slam it on the table, you just break the button. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you a trick. We've got all of these already laid out exactly like I want them. So I'm just going to go quick. I'm going to put a couple dribbles. You don't need to overload on the glue. You really just need 1 or 2 little bunny hops. I'm doing all of mine right away. If you want to take the time and do one of them at a time, each of them separately, that's fine. But I'm going to take mine, I'm going to get all the glue ready by gluifying each piece. Little bunny hops. And remember, I'm squeezing really hard with this hand and hardly pressing down at all. Just pressing down enough to push the little button in. You don't need to slam it down. There we go. We got most of our main pieces. Okay, now I'm going to start to work. I'm going to flip this one over. I'm going to lay it right down here, about 2 to 3 fingers up from the bottom, because we want to have a little room for grass down there. Now I'm going to take this one. I'm actually going to peel this up just a little bit because it's still wet, and I'm going to slide it under there just so it fits onto the paper. Okay, and I'm going to take this one, flip it over, take this one, flip it over, this one already flipped over on accident, this one, flip that over, flip this one over so it's in the center, flip this one over so it's in the center, flip this one over, and I'm actually going to rip it in half. There we go. Alright, so we've got our main house done. That's the end of part 1 where you do just the house.